Hello everyone! Welcome to another episode of Joy in the Kitchen. It's a new year, it's a new day, so many different things that we're going to do. So on today's episode, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite salads that I love to make. It has squash in it, but I want to talk a little bit about the different types of squashes that you have. The base of the salad can be pretty much any leafy green. I'll show you how we put it all together in a little bit. But I'm going to talk about the different squashes that I was able to find and which one I prefer to use just because of my personal taste. So here we have the traditional pumpkin. It's still wrapped. I use this when I make Spanish food. I cut it up, I put it into white beans. But the skin is very, very tough. So you'd have to peel it and before you would eat it in your salad. Of course, we have the gorgeous acorn squash. This is a beauty also. Could be very sweet. Add a little nutmeg to it, cut it in half, but you also have to peel the skin. It's very tough to eat. So the squash that I'm going to reference today is my personal favorite, Delicata. So the reason I love this squash is because, one, the skin is very thin and it's actually super sweet. So once we cut this up and clean it out, I leave the skin on. My oven is preheated to 400 degrees. So let's get started. So I've gone ahead and rinsed the squash. I'm going to take a serrated knife and I'm going to cut it down the middle. So you can use these lines as a guide. Sometimes they have curves, but once you find a good line, and this knife is fantastic, it goes right through. And as you can see, I'm taking it right down the center, and there we go. So of course it has seeds inside. I have a little, this is my grapefruit spoon, but it's great because it's got little serrated edges, and it allows me, and of course I always have a trusty little bowl. You want to keep a bowl close by. You can roast these seeds if you want. I actually am not going to roast them, just for sake of time. But if that's something you want to do in the fall, especially if you're decorating pumpkins, then by all means, I want you to do so. So there's that. And these little serrated spoons, I think my sister found them on Amazon. They are absolutely fantastic, easy to use, and they have so many uses. I use them for just about everything. I don't really eat grapefruit as much, but these spoons are fantastic. For a perfect example, like this. All right, there we go, into the sink. So now let's get ready. I'm gonna grab, in fact, the beautiful thing about this, they're so delicate, and if you smell them, which I'm doing, I know you can't see my face, but they're absolutely delicious. So now we have a flat surface. I'm gonna take my trusty chef's knife, and I'm gonna cut these to probably about 1/4 inch. I don't want them too thick, but you want them to be thick enough, so if you can see, so that way they absorb, they get crispy. We're gonna season them so easily and you're gonna be like, wow, that's it? So I'm gonna cut these up and let me show you how we season. So now that we've sliced our squash, I just have a clear glass bowl. We're gonna take them and put them inside because what we're gonna do is let's season them a little bit before we put them in the oven to roast. So I love it. You can put it in a bowl. Some people put it straight onto the sheet tray, but I just think it's easier in here. So to this, we're going to add just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, probably about 2 tablespoons. It doesn't need a whole lot. This is just to provide some lubrication. Makes it a little easier. A little bit of kosher salt. How much really depends on you. These are naturally sweet. The salt just brings out the beautiful richness in it. Of course, we're going to add a little bit of black pepper. Not too much because I'm gonna add a secret ingredient. We're gonna add a little dash of fresh nutmeg. So I have my nutmeg here, my trusty little zester. Be careful not to add fingers in here. It happens to the best of us. That's it, just very little nutmeg. It's gonna bring out the richness in the squash. And then my secret ingredient is this French pepper. I'll put it in the comments. It's piment. Don't even ask me to say it. I'm gonna literally take just a little bit of my fingers and sprinkle it over the squash. It adds this beautiful, smoky, sweet heat. There we go. We're just gonna toss it all together so that it's nice and evenly coated. Close that up. Now let's bring over our sheet tray. and onto the sheet tray it goes. You want them to be in one layer, so make sure that they're separated, not doubled up. So again, my oven is preheated to 400 degrees. This can take, because they're very thin, I'm going to say between 12 and 18 minutes. Every oven is different, so make sure you keep an eye on it so that they don't burn. So into the oven these go, and let me show you what it looks like when it's done. While the squash is roasting in the oven, let's go ahead and make the dressing. So I use my glass measuring cup. This is a 2-cup one. To this, I'm going to add some Dijon mustard. I think there's something beautiful about Dijon mustard. Not only does it help to emulsify your sauce, your little dressing here, I'm going to call it sauce. Don't mind me, I interchange my words. It's about 1 teaspoon. Then to that, I'm going to add 1.5 lemons. Squeeze them right in. That's why we keep a trusty garbage bowl in the sink to catch all these goodies. 1 lime, we're going to slice them in half, and then I have a little mandarin here. So for that touch of sweetness, I'm going to slice that one in half as well, and we're going to include it in there. In goes the rest of the lemon. So is there an exact formula to making dressing? I'd like to have a little more acid. So it's probably 1 part acid, 2 parts extra virgin olive oil. I like to use really good quality olive oil. It gives you that beautiful, all those beautiful floral notes. This is a salad dressing that, you know, if whatever's left over, you can save it. I do not add this to my salad until it's time to serve, because I don't want my greens to wilt. So there we go, in the sink that goes. Let's give this a quick little stir. I have a little whisk here, just so we can incorporate the Dijon to this. Again, this is not exact science. We're going to put in probably about ½ a teaspoon of kosher salt. I'm going to add a little bit. I wish you could smell this, because I'm getting the mandarin, I'm getting the lime, I'm getting the lemon. It's so good. If you wanted a touch sweeter, you could add a little bit of agave. You could add a little bit of honey. You can add a little bit of sugar. I'm leaving it the way it is because I like the tartness. So to this is about ½ a cup of mix here so far. So if it's ½ a cup, we're going to put in 1 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Again, use the good stuff. And I love that I have this, and of course you can make it a little less. Like I said, I like it tart, so I'll put in, this is only ½ a cup so far. Keep it going. And I think I'm going to stop there. So 1.5 parts instead of 2 parts. Because I love the acidity. We're just going to mix this in a little bit. I'm not looking for a true emulsion. I just want to blend this in together. And that's it. Dressing done. Set to the side. And let's put the salad together. So the squash took about 18 minutes to cook. I set it to the side so that it's a little bit more at room temperature, but look at how delicious that looks. It's beautifully crispy. Let's taste a piece, and look how they're soft and oh my goodness, it's so good. You have that touch of sweetness, a little bit of salt, the pepper, and the little bit of heat. Oh my goodness. So good. So now let's put this all together. I'll put this here on the side. So let's build this salad. I just took a little white bowl. I'll do this just to show you. Now again, I'm using baby arugula. This has been triple washed, so I'm going to put a little base here. You can use whatever greens you like. Sometimes I use the mixed greens that has arugula, Swiss chard, spinach. It really depends on my mood. But I love the pepperiness that goes along with the acidity from the dressing and the sweetness. We'll just put that little bit. Of course, you can top this. If you would like a protein with this, you could put some grilled chicken, you can do some grilled salmon, you can do my paprika, shrimp, and butter sauce. I'll put a link to that video there. So we'll start here. And what I love the most, now I'm gonna put a little bit of the squash and decorate. Just put it on there. It's this beautiful, vibrant yellow against the green. It is absolute, my hands are clean, don't you worry. I'm gonna put a few pieces. Again, I'm not gonna eat the entire thing, so we'll put that little bit there. Now for a pop of color, I'm gonna use some dry cranberries. Adds another little tartness, a little sweetness. Not too much, but just enough. You can use pomegranates if you have them. Again, it doesn't have to be cranberries. It could be cherries. It could be dried blueberries. Go with what makes you happy. Then I have here, again, like I said, this is my, let's just move this out of the way. This is my goat cheese. I adore goat cheese. You could use plain goat cheese. You could use goat cheese crumble. If blue cheese is your jam, then go right ahead and use your blue cheese. So I'm just gonna take it and crumble it over a little bit. This is gonna add a beautiful richness as you take a good bite. You can indulge in as much or as little as you like. It is your salad. It is entirely up to you. And now for the finishing touch. I love a little bit of a crunch. So for me, I always have pistachios that are shelled and lightly salted. So I'm gonna put a few of these on top. Omit them if you have a nut allergy, or use the nut of your choice. I just love the contrast of the sweet, salty, and tart from the cranberries. Then we're gonna take our dressing that we made a little earlier. I'm just gonna give this a little stir with a spoon. And I'm gonna put very, very little around the edges. This does not have to be, you don't have to drown it in dressing. The dressing should just almost be just like a little touch of goodness. There we go. And now let's taste test. Y'all, you don't even know. This salad right here, you're gonna love this. If you can find that Delicata squash, I promise you it is divine. But now let's take a taste test. I'm gonna create the perfect little bite. So let's cut a little piece of the squash. Take a little bit of goat cheese, a little cranberry, a little arugula. Let's see if I can get, oh, there we go. The perfect little bite. You hear that crunch? Oh my goodness. I promise you. It's so good. Go ahead and make this salad. Add your protein if you want. I'm probably gonna make a little more shrimp to take a different picture with it. But this is a go-to. It's a new year. If you're looking to just reduce the intake of a lot of calories, you can substitute the squash. You don't have to use the squash. You can use things that are a little more on the low calorie side or the low carb. But for me, this is healthier eating as opposed to eating some of the other foods I've eaten. So thank you. Make sure you comment, like, share, and subscribe so that you're fully aware of when these episodes come out. And from my kitchen to yours, thank you so much. And I'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye. I'm going back for another bite. This squash is divine.